What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm focusing on the Rugby Championship and saying that this tournament should be held in New Zealand. Why? Well, because rugby has started there first. We've got the first crowds back. All things are going well over in New Zealand. They've got no COVID cases in the past few weeks. They've reduced to level 1 lockdown. All positive things are happening, and for me, this tournament, if it does take place, needs to happen in New Zealand, where we can see a crowd, where we can experience what we experienced this past weekend. It was a totally different vibe when we watched Super Rugby in New Zealand this past weekend, because we missed the sport. We appreciated the sport more, and we saw record-breaking crowds over in Auckland. We saw great things happening, and for me, why not just keep the championship there? Now, World Rugby did meet this past weekend, trying to figure out how they're going to go through the global calendar and get things moving, but no decision was made because there's delays in France, delays in England due to the whole club games, etc., etc. But for now, let's make a plan and sort things out. Do things that we know we can really get done, and that is creating the Rugby Championship and keeping it in one neutral venue. Now, I know the talk was having it in Australia because they need to raise funds. But as we're thinking about this right now, there's still going to be behind closed doors. The stadiums aren't going to generate revenue because there's no one to buy tickets, etc., etc. So why not bring the game to New Zealand, help raise funds there, and redeem the ticket prices and actually create money opportunities for these stadiums instead of having it in a no-show game. Let's face it, when we watch sport, we're grateful to have it on, but we want a crowd, we want entertainment, we want excitement, we want the cheers, we want the boos, we want to see the war cry of electricity when the haka's going on, the chirps and the comments when the Springboks play the All Blacks or Australia or Argentina. It would just make this tournament that much more exciting, and for me it's a smart move, especially with the way things are going so well in New Zealand. It's just going to make sense for the business for the business of sport going forward. South Africa, unfortunately, we're just not in a great place at the moment because our virus rates are increasing, the death toll is increasing. We're not seeing any progression, and unfortunately we're still in the growing stages of it, which is sad because we would love to host these teams and have a rugby championship, but for now it's what matters is players' safety, the welfare and the health. And if we're going to have any form of tournament, if World Rugby can get their act together and actually decide on doing something, put the tournament over in New Zealand and let's have a phenomenal rugby tournament. Argentina's still got lots of rules and regulations due to the COVID pandemic, and to be fair, they're not going to travel all the way to Argentina to go all the way to New Zealand back and forth. Rather keep the tournament at a neutral venue and focus on what's important and get the sport going, because that for me is just going to make absolute sense, and the crowd will just add to that vibe and atmosphere, especially if it's going to be one of the first international tournaments that could possibly take place this year after the COVID-19 pandemic. So for me, let's do it. Put it in New Zealand. We know there's a crowd, we know there's a vibe, we know there's no COVID-19 scares at this stage. Thank goodness for that as well. Let's just keep it there and have the tournament going. I don't see why it's hard to come up with decisions, but I know if people over north don't want to agree on certain things, well, that's the thing. But for me, create an opportunity where we can see the end line, we can see a progression, and we can see a tournament happening. And for me, it's Rugby Championship in New Zealand. Finish, klar. We've got a tournament. The teams can go. South Africa's traveling for these players can be lifted so the team and management can go over safely and play in the tournament. And I think the same will go for Argentina as well as Australia. I know Australia need the funds, but you can generate way more income and revenue if you have a crowd in. And for now, that's the only place where we're going to see that is New Zealand. So let's move the tournament there. that's just my 2 cents worth. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And yeah, unless you have any other ideas, but for me, this makes sense. That's going to do it for today's one. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.